I sit on the couch sipping my whiskey and watch Jenna as she moves around the kitchen. She's making dinner, her movements graceful, almost hypnotic. The smell of garlic and butter fills the room, and I let myself relax into the evening. There's something about the way her dress clings to her curves, the way she occasionally glances at me with that knowing smile that makes me feel content. But there's also something else, an unease I can't quite place. I've always loved her. From the moment I met her, Jenna has been the center of my world. She's smart, sexy, and knows how to get what she wants. Our life together is good. At least it seems good. I'm successful in my career, a well-known architect with clients who trust my vision. Jenna has her own life, her friends, her yoga classes, her charity work. We're the couple others envy, or so they say. Yet there's a gnawing feeling I can't shake. It's in the way she's been more distant lately, the way her laughter doesn't reach her eyes when she's with me. I tell myself it's just the stress of our busy lives, that every marriage goes through phases. But tonight, I can't ignore it. Something's off. Mike, can you grab the wine from the cellar? Jenna's voice breaks through my thoughts. I nod and head downstairs, my mind still tangled in that uneasy feeling. I pull the bottle from the rack and start back up, but I hesitate at the bottom step. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, thinking it might be a client, but it's not. It's a text from Jenna's phone. I frown. She's upstairs and her phone is probably on the counter next to her. Why would she be texting me? Curiosity wins out. I swipe to unlock and read the message. Miss you already. Can't wait until tomorrow night. My heart stops. I read it again, my stomach twisting into knots. I know that message wasn't meant for me. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but it feels like the ground has just shifted beneath my feet. I glance up the stairs where Jenna's humming to herself, unaware that her carefully constructed world is about to collapse. I know I should confront her, demand answers, but instead I find myself moving quietly, slipping the phone back where I found it. As I return to the kitchen, I hand her the wine and watch as she smiles, completely at ease. She has no idea that I know, and for a moment, I let her live in that illusion. But inside, something snaps. The perfect life I thought we had is a lie, and I'm about to uncover just how deep the deception goes. Jenna pours the wine, oblivious to the storm that's brewing. And in that moment, everything changes. I don't sleep much that night. My mind races, replaying that text message over and over. Jenna, my wife, the woman I've loved and trusted for years, is sleeping with Tom. My hands tremble as I scroll through the messages on her phone, piecing together the sordid details of their affair. It's all there, every lie, every deception, spelled out in a series of intimate exchanges. By the time dawn breaks, I'm numb. I haven't confronted her yet. I'm not sure how to start, or what I'll do when I do. I feel like I'm floating outside my body, watching my life unravel from a distance. I know I need to confront her, but I can't seem to move. Jenna wakes up and greets me with a sleepy smile, as if nothing is wrong. The sight of her infuriates me, but I force myself to stay calm. I have to know the truth, all of it, before I make my move. Morning, she says, stretching. Did you sleep okay? Not really, I reply, my voice tight. I've got a lot on my mind. She gives me a concerned look, but it feels fake now, like everything about her. Anything you want to talk about? Actually, yeah. There's something I need to ask you. I try to keep my voice steady, but the anger is bubbling just beneath the surface. She pauses, her eyes narrowing slightly. What is it? Are you cheating on me with Tom? The question hangs in the air like a bomb about to explode. Jenna's face goes pale, and I see the panic flash in her eyes. She recovers quickly, though, her expression hardening. What are you talking about? She snaps. Of course not. How could you even think that? I saw the text, Jenna. I know everything. Her eyes widen, and for a moment she looks genuinely scared. But then, something shifts. Her fear turns to cold fury. So you've been snooping through my phone? That's disgusting, Mike. Don't turn this around on me, I growl, the rage I've been holding back finally spilling over. You've been lying to me, sneaking around behind my back, and with my best friend's husband, no less. How long has this been going on? Jenna crosses her arms, her lips pressed into a thin line. It's none of your business. None of my business? I echo, incredulous. You're my wife. Not for much longer, she spits back. I'm filing for divorce. I'm stunned into silence. I hadn't expected this. Not only is she cheating on me, but now she's trying to take the upper hand. Divorce? Are you serious? As a heart attack, she says coldly. And if you think you're going to get anything out of this, you're wrong. I've already spoken to a lawyer. You'll be lucky if you don't end up with a restraining order. The room tilts as her words sink in. A restraining order? What the hell are you talking about? She steps closer, her eyes blazing with hatred. I'm going to tell them you've been abusive, Mike, that you've hit me, threatened me. And with everything I've documented, no one will believe a word you say. I can barely process what she's saying. My mind is spinning, trying to catch up. You're lying. I've never laid a hand on you. Doesn't matter, she says with a shrug. All that matters is what the court believes. And they'll believe me. I stagger back, my world collapsing around me. I thought the betrayal of her affair was the worst thing that could happen. But this is something else. She's not just trying to leave me, she's trying to destroy me. Before I can say another word, she turns and walks out of the room, leaving me standing there in shock. I hear her phone ringing a moment later, and then she's on the call, her voice low and conspiratorial. I know she's talking to Tom. I can't bear to listen. My legs finally give out, and I sink onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. What the hell just happened? How did my life go so wrong so fast? I've always prided myself on being in control, on having things figured out. But now everything is spinning out of control, and I don't know how to stop it. I don't have much time to think. Before I can even pull myself together, there's a loud knock at the door. My heart jumps into my throat. It's the police. I can see them through the window, two uniformed officers standing on the porch. This can't be happening. Not already. I stumble to the door and open it, my hands shaking. Can I help you? Mike Taylor? One of the officers asks. Yes, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. We have a warrant for your arrest, the officer says, his tone professional but detached. You're being charged with domestic assault. What? I breathe, my mind reeling. This is a mistake. I haven't done anything. Turn around and place your hands behind your back, the other officer instructs. I don't move at first, too shocked to process what's happening, but they don't give me much time to react. They grab my arms, spin me around, and cuff me before I can say another word. The cold metal bites into my wrists as they lead me out of my own house. Jenna is standing in the hallway, watching with a look of triumph on her face. I catch her eye, searching for any sign of the woman I used to know, the woman I loved. But all I see is malice. She's enjoying this, watching my life crumble. As they push me into the back of the police car, I feel like I'm in a nightmare I can't wake up from. My thoughts are a chaotic whirl of anger, fear, and disbelief. How did I get here? How did everything go so wrong? At the station, they process me, take my fingerprints, my mugshot. The whole time I'm numb. I can't stop thinking about Jenna's cold, calculating smile. She planned this. She set me up, and I walked right into her trap. When they finally put me in a cell, the reality of my situation starts to sink in. I'm alone sitting on a cold, hard bench, staring at the gray walls. My life as I knew it is over. Jenna has made sure of that. Hours pass, or maybe it's just minutes. I can't tell. Time has lost all meaning. I keep replaying everything that's happened, trying to figure out where I went wrong, what I missed. How could I have been so blind? Eventually, they let me make a phone call. I call my lawyer, Jeff, a friend I've known since college. He's shocked to hear what's happened, but he promises to come down to the station right away. When he arrives, I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe there's a way out of this. Maybe I can still fight back. Mike, Jeff says as he sits down across from me, his face serious. This is bad. Jenna's got a restraining order against you. The charges are serious. If they stick, you could be looking at jail time. I didn't do any of it, I say, desperation creeping into my voice. She's lying, Jeff. She's been cheating on me with Tom. And now she's trying to ruin me. Jeff nods, his expression grim. I believe you, but we need proof. Right now it's her word against yours, and she's got the upper hand. What can we do, I ask, feeling more helpless by the second. We start by gathering evidence, Jeff says. You need to stay calm, stay focused. We'll hire a private investigator, dig into Jenna's life, find out what she's been up to. If we can expose her affair, it'll undermine her credibility. I nod, trying to hold on to the thin thread of hope Jeff is offering. But inside, I'm terrified. Jenna has already proven she's willing to go to any lengths to destroy me. What if I can't stop her? The next few days are a blur of legal proceedings, meetings with Jeff, and sleepless nights. The restraining order means I can't go home, so I'm staying in a hotel, isolated and on edge. I feel like I'm living in a prison of Jenna's making. The private investigator, a grizzled old guy named Frank, is relentless. He starts tailing Jenna, digging into her financials, her phone records, everything. Every day I wait for news, praying he'll find something that will turn the tide in my favor. Meanwhile, the police investigation into the domestic abuse charges continues. They interview neighbors, friends, even my colleagues. Jenna's stories are meticulous, full of details I can't easily disprove. She claims I've been controlling, that I've hit her before, that she's been afraid for her life. It's all lies, but the way she tells it, even I start to doubt my own memories. The worst part is the waiting. Every day that passes without any new evidence feels like a nail in my coffin. I start to spiral, consumed by thoughts of revenge, of what I'll do to Jenna and Tom when I finally have the upper hand. The anger keeps me going, but it's also eating me alive. Then finally, Frank calls with a breakthrough. He's found something, a hidden bank account in Jenna's name, with large, unexplained deposits. He's also got photos of her and Tom together, looking a little too cozy for just friends. It's not the smoking gun we need, but it's a start. I take the photos and the bank records to Jeff, who starts putting together a strategy. We'll use the evidence to challenge Jenna's credibility, to show the court she's been lying, manipulating the system. It's a risky move, but it's all we've got. The day of the hearing arrives and I'm a wreck. Jenna walks in with her lawyer, looking calm and collected, like she's already won. Tom is there too, sitting in the back, his face a mask of smug satisfaction. I want to punch him, but I keep my cool. As the hearing progresses, Jeff presents our evidence, carefully laying out the case that Jenna has been dishonest, that the abuse allegations are part of a larger scheme to frame me. Jenna's lawyer tries to dismiss it all as irrelevant, but I can see cracks forming in her facade. When Jenna takes the stand, Jeff grills her relentlessly, poking holes in her story, catching her in inconsistencies. She gets flustered, defensive. It's the first time I've seen her lose her composure, and it gives me a sick sense of satisfaction. But as strong as our case is, the judge is still hesitant. He acknowledges the evidence but doesn't dismiss the charges outright. Instead, he orders a further investigation, delaying any final decision. It's not the victory I was hoping for, but it's not a loss either. As I leave the courthouse, Jenna glares at me, her eyes full of venom. I know this isn't over. She'll keep coming after me, keep trying to destroy me, and I have to be ready for whatever she throws at me next. I realize then that I'm in a fight for my life, a fight I can't afford to lose. Jenna may have started this war, but I'm going to finish it. One way or another, I'm going to make her pay for what she's done to me, and I'm not going to stop until I've taken everything from her. I become obsessed with finding out everything about Jenna and Tom. The betrayal cuts deep, but it's the lies, the manipulation, that fuels my rage. I need to know how far this goes, and I won't stop until I do. Frank, the private investigator, is relentless in his work, but I can't just sit back and wait for him to uncover everything. I start tailing Jenna myself, following her when she thinks I'm nowhere near. I watch her meet with Tom in secret, their interactions careful but charged with the kind of intimacy that makes my stomach churn. The way they look at each other, the stolen touches, it's all there, out in the open now, taunting me. But I keep my distance. I need more than just evidence of their affair. I need something that will destroy them the way they've destroyed me. Jenna's life is a maze of deception. She's careful, almost paranoid, but I'm more determined. Late at night, I go through her things, her phone, her emails, her personal files. I uncover hidden bank statements, transfers to accounts I've never heard of, and transactions that make no sense. There's something bigger at play here, something that goes beyond just an affair. I'm on the edge of a dark revelation, and it's terrifying. Frank confirms my suspicions. He uncovers a series of large transfers from Jenna's account to an offshore bank. The sums are staggering. More digging reveals that Tom and Emily are involved too. They've been embezzling money from the charity Jenna supposedly runs. It's a perfect setup. They've funneled the money into these accounts, and now they're planning to pin it all on me. They'll claim I was the mastermind, that I forced Jenna to go along with it. It's a perfect plan, and if I don't act fast, they'll get away with it. I confront Jenna one evening, after she returns from one of her meetings with Tom. I can't hold back any longer. "How long have you been planning this?" I ask, my voice cold, controlled. She doesn't even flinch. "I don't know what you're talking about, Mike." "Don't lie to me," I snap. "I know about the money. I know about the accounts." "You think you can frame me for this?" Her eyes flash with something between anger and fear, but she recovers quickly. "You've been spying on me. How pathetic." "Spying? Is that what you call trying to save my life?" "You've been plotting with Tom and Emily to steal millions, and you thought you could just blame it on me?" "You're delusional," she says, but there's a crack in her voice, a hesitation that tells me I'm getting to her. I step closer, forcing her to look me in the eye. "I'm not going down for this, Jenna. You might have fooled everyone else, but I'm on to you, and I'm going to make sure the world knows exactly what you are." For the first time, I see fear in her eyes. Real fear. But she quickly masks it with defiance. "You won't win, Mike. No one will believe you. You're just a desperate man trying to cover his tracks." "You're right," I say, my voice low. "No one will believe me, but they'll believe the evidence." She stiffens, realizing I have something on her. I turn and walk away, leaving her standing there, shaken. But as I head back to my car, my phone buzzes. I glance at the screen and my blood runs cold. It's a text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have done that. Now it's war." My heart races as I look around, but there's no one in sight. I know who it's from. Tom. He's watching me, just as I've been watching them. They're not going to let me go without a fight. And now it's not just about money or betrayal. It's about survival. The next few days are a blur of paranoia and preparation. Frank digs deeper, uncovering more about Tom's connections, shady deals, blackmail, and worse. It's clear that Tom is dangerous, more dangerous than I ever realized. But I can't back down now. I'm in too deep, and there's no turning back. I start planning my next move, knowing that confrontation is inevitable. I document everything, every transaction, every conversation, every threat. I need to be ready for whatever they throw at me, but the tension is wearing me down. I barely sleep, and when I do, I'm haunted by nightmares of what's to come. One night, as I'm going over the latest evidence Frank has sent me, I hear a noise outside. My heart pounds as I grab the baseball bat I keep by the door and head toward the sound. I open the door slowly, peering into the darkness. There's nothing there, but the feeling of being watched is overwhelming. I know they're out there, waiting for the right moment to strike. And then, just as I'm about to close the door, someone grabs me from behind. I struggle, but they're strong, pulling me down to the ground. I hear a voice low and threatening. "You should have stayed out of it, Mike." I kick out, managing to break free for just a second, but it's enough. I swing the bat wildly, connecting with something solid. There's a grunt of pain, and I take the opportunity to scramble to my feet. But before I can do anything, I'm hit from behind, hard. The world goes dark. When I come to, I'm lying on the ground, my head throbbing. My vision is blurry, but I can make out two figures standing over me. One of them is Tom. "Stupid move, Mike," he says, his voice dripping with contempt. "You should have just let it go." I try to speak, but the pain is too much. I can barely move, let alone fight back. "Don't worry," Tom continues. "We're not going to kill you. Not yet, anyway. But you're going to regret ever crossing us." They leave me there, bleeding and broken. I don't know how long I lie there before I manage to crawl back inside. Every movement is agony, but I can't stay out there. I need to get help. I need to survive. I call Frank first, my voice weak but urgent. "They got me, Frank. I need help." He's at my place within minutes, his face grim as he helps me up. "We need to get you to a hospital," he says, but I shake my head. "No hospital. They'll be looking for me there. I just need to lay low for a bit. We need to regroup, figure out our next move." Frank reluctantly agrees, helping me into his car. As we drive away, I look back at my house, knowing I can't go back there. Not now. I'm a fugitive in my own life, hunted by the people I once trusted. Frank takes me to a safe house, a small, secluded cabin in the woods. It's quiet, almost peaceful, but the weight of what's happened keeps me on edge. I can't relax, can't let my guard down, not even for a moment. Over the next few days, I heal slowly. Frank brings me food and supplies, and we spend hours going over the evidence, trying to piece together a plan. But the attack has shaken me. I realize now that I've underestimated them, that they're willing to go much further than I ever thought possible. But I can't let fear control me. I have to fight back, and I will. I just need to be smarter, more careful. Frank suggests we bring in more help, someone who can get us information we can't access. He knows a hacker, someone who specializes in uncovering secrets. I agree, knowing we need all the help we can get. The hacker, a woman named Cass, is a godsend. Within days, she's managed to break into Tom's and Emily's financial records, uncovering a trail of corruption that goes back years. It's worse than I imagined. They've been involved in everything: fraud, money laundering, even blackmail. And now they're using those connections to cover their tracks, to make sure I go down instead of them. But Cass is good, better than they anticipated. She finds the one thing they didn't cover up: a series of emails between Tom and a local politician discussing the embezzlement scheme in detail. It's enough to blow their operation wide open. Armed with this new evidence, I'm ready to confront Jenna and Tom. But this time, I'm not going in blind. I have a plan, and I'm not going to stop until they pay for what they've done. I arrange a meeting with Jenna, making it seem like I'm ready to give in, to settle things quietly. She agrees, not suspecting that I have the upper hand. When we meet, she's calm, collected, but I can see the tension in her eyes. She knows something's changed, but she doesn't know what. Not yet. "I want to end this, Jenna," I say, my voice steady. "I'm tired of fighting. Let's just settle this and move on." She narrows her eyes, searching for any sign of deception. "What's the catch?" "No catch," I say, shrugging. "I just want this nightmare to be over." She relaxes slightly, but I can tell she's still wary. "And what about the charges? The money?" "I'll take the fall," I say, and her eyes widen in surprise. "But I need something in return." "What?" she asks, suspicious. "I want full custody of our son." "You can't drag him into this mess. He deserves better." She hesitates, clearly conflicted. But I can see the greed in her eyes, the desire to walk away with everything else. She nods slowly. "Fine. You take the blame, and I'll give you custody. But if you back out, I'll make sure you never see him again." "I won't back out," I say, standing up. "But I need you to sign something, just to make sure we're both protected." She looks at me, confused. "What do you mean?" I pull out the papers Frank and Cass helped me prepare, laying them on the table. "It's a legal agreement outlining our terms. Once it's signed, I'll confess, and this will all be over." She hesitates, but her greed wins out. She grabs the pen and starts to sign. That's when I hit the button on my phone, recording every word she's saying. When she's done, I smile, feeling the weight lift off my shoulders. "Thank you, Jenna. You've just given me everything I need." Her eyes widen in realization, but it's too late. I grab the papers and the recording, standing up. "I've got you now. You're going down, Jenna. And this time, there's no way out." As I walk away, leaving her stunned and panicked, I know the war is far from over. But for the first time, I feel like I'm winning. And I won't stop until I've taken everything from them, just like they tried to take everything from me. The days following the attack are a blur of pain and determination. I'm holed up in Frank's safe house, nursing my wounds, both physical and emotional. My body aches from the beating, but my mind is sharper than ever. The reality that I've been underestimating Jenna and Tom gnaws at me, fueling my resolve. I've been playing defense, but now it's time to go on the offensive. I spend hours poring over the evidence Frank and Cass have gathered. Every transaction, every email, every piece of dirt they've unearthed becomes a weapon in my arsenal. I map out a plan, a series of moves designed to dismantle their lives piece by piece. I won't just expose them, I'll destroy them. The first step is to hit Jenna where it hurts most, her reputation. I start leaking carefully selected pieces of evidence to the media. The story of her affair with Tom, coupled with the embezzlement, spreads like wildfire. Headlines scream about the scandal, and her carefully crafted image as a devoted wife and philanthropist begins to crumble. The public turns on her, and so do her so-called friends. I watch the fallout from the safe house, feeling a grim satisfaction as Jenna's world starts to collapse. She's scrambling, trying to control the narrative, but it's too late. The truth is out there, and there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. But I'm not done. Not even close. Next, I go after Tom. With Cass's help, we dig into his business dealings, uncovering a web of corruption that stretches far beyond the embezzlement. It turns out Tom's been laundering money for a local crime syndicate, and he's been sloppy about it. I pass the information to the authorities, and within days, Tom is under investigation. His business partners start to distance themselves, and his empire begins to crumble. The pressure mounts, and I know it's only a matter of time before Jenna and Tom make a desperate move. I'm ready for it. I've anticipated every step, every possible counterattack. But then Jenna does something I didn't expect. Something that makes my blood run cold. She kidnaps our son. I find out when I get a call from his school, asking why he hasn't been picked up. Panic grips me as I realize what she's done. I know she's capable of cruelty, but this is something else. She's using our son as leverage, knowing it's the one thing that could break me. My hands shake as I dial her number. She answers on the first ring, her voice cold and detached. "Looking for someone." "Where is he, Jenna?" I force the words out, trying to keep the fear out of my voice. "He's safe," she says, but there's no reassurance in her tone. "For now. You're out of your mind if you think you can get away with this. I'm not the one who's losing everything, Mike. You've backed me into a corner, and now I'm fighting back." "You don't have to do this," I say, trying to reason with her. "We can settle this without dragging him into it." "This is your fault," she snaps. "You started this war. Now you'll see how far I'm willing to go." The line goes dead, and I'm left staring at the phone, my heart pounding. I can't afford to lose my cool, not now. I need to think, to plan my next move carefully, but the thought of my son in her hands being used as a pawn in her twisted game makes my blood boil. I call Frank, explaining the situation in clipped, urgent sentences. He's already on it, calling in favors, trying to track down any leads. I know Jenna won't make it easy. She's smart and she's desperate, which makes her even more dangerous. Hours pass, each one feeling like a lifetime. I pace the floor, my mind racing through every possible scenario. I can't let her win, not this time. Finally, Frank calls with a lead. He's traced Jenna's movements to a cabin outside the city, a place she used to go to when she needed to get away. It's secluded, far enough from prying eyes that she might think she's safe there. I grab my keys, adrenaline surging through me as I head for the door. "I'm going to get him," I tell Frank. "Meet me there." He tries to convince me to wait, to let the authorities handle it, but I can't. This is my son, and I'm not leaving him in her hands any longer than I have to. The drive to the cabin is a blur. My hands grip the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white. Every second that passes feels like an eternity. I can't stop thinking about what Jenna might do if she feels cornered. The fear gnaws at me, but I push it aside, focusing on the road ahead. When I arrive at the cabin, it's dark, the only light coming from the windows. I park a little way down the road and make my way through the trees, keeping low, moving as quietly as I can. The air is thick with tension, every rustle of leaves making my heart race. I reach the edge of the clearing and see them. Jenna is standing on the porch, her back to me, talking to someone inside. I can't see my son, but I know he's in there. I can feel it. I take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. This is it. I have to be smart, careful. One wrong move could set her off. I move closer, keeping to the shadows. I'm almost at the porch when Jenna suddenly turns, spotting me. Her eyes widen in surprise, but then a cruel smile spreads across her face. "So you found me," she says, her voice dripping with contempt. "Where is he?" I demand, stepping into the light. "Where's our son?" She doesn't answer, just stands there, watching me like a cat playing with a mouse. My patience snaps, and I start towards her, but she holds up a hand. "Not another step, Mike, or you'll regret it." I stop, my heart pounding. I can see she's holding something in her other hand, something small and metallic. It takes a second for me to realize it's a remote control. "What is that?" I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. "Insurance," she says, her smile widening. One press of this button, and the whole place goes up in flames. "Do you really want to take that chance?" My blood runs cold. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" she taunts, waving the remote slightly. "Do you really want to find out?" I freeze, every instinct screaming at me to do something, but I'm trapped. She's got me, and she knows it. I have no choice but to play along, to try and talk her down. "Jenna, please," I say, my voice cracking. "Don't do this. He's our son. He doesn't deserve this." "Neither did I," she snaps, her voice suddenly filled with venom. "But you didn't care about that, did you? You just had to ruin everything." "This isn't the way," I plead, taking a small step closer. "We can still fix this. Just give him to me, and we can end this." "End this?" She laughs, a harsh, bitter sound. "There's no end to this, Mike. You took everything from me. Now I'm going to take everything from you." She presses the button. For a split second, nothing happens. Then the cabin erupts in flames, a wall of fire shooting up from the roof. I hear a muffled scream from inside, and my heart lurches. "No!" I shout, rushing toward the door, but Jenna blocks my way, her eyes wild with anger. "You wanted this," she hisses. "Now you'll watch it burn." I shove past her, kicking the door open. The heat is unbearable, the flames already spreading through the cabin. I can barely see through the smoke, but I know he's in there somewhere. I hear his voice, faint but unmistakable, calling out for me. "Dad! Help!" I force my way through the flames, my skin blistering from the heat. I see him in the corner, tied to a chair, his eyes wide with terror. I reach him, fumbling with the ropes, my hands shaking. "It's okay," I gasp, trying to reassure him. "I'm here. I'm going to get you out." But the flames are closing in, the smoke choking us. I pull him free, lifting him into my arms, and turn to run, but the doorway is blocked by fire. There's no way out. I hear Jenna laughing outside, a maniacal sound that sends chills down my spine. She's won. She's really done it. But then, through the smoke, I see a window. It's small, but it's our only chance. I grab a chair and smash the glass, ignoring the shards that cut into my hands. I push my son through first, then haul myself out after him, just as the roof collapses behind us. We hit the ground hard, rolling away from the burning building. I'm coughing, my lungs filled with smoke. But I don't care. He's safe. We're both safe. I pull him close, holding him tight, my heart pounding with relief. But it's not over yet. Jenna is still out there, and I know she won't stop until one of us is dead. I look up and see her standing a few feet away, the remote still in her hand, her face twisted with rage. She's lost everything now, and she knows it, but she's not done fighting. "This isn't over," she spits, taking a step towards me. I push my son behind me, my body tensing. I'm ready for whatever comes next, ready to end this once and for all. But before either of us can move, there's a sudden flash of light, and Jenna collapses to the ground. I blink, trying to understand what just happened, when I see Frank standing behind her, a gun in his hand. He looks at me, his face grim. "It's over, Mike." I stare at Jenna's lifeless body, a mix of relief and horror washing over me. It's really over. The war, the nightmare, it's finally over. But as I hold my son close, watching the flames consume the cabin, I know that this victory has come at a cost. We've both been scarred, both changed by what's happened. And even though the battle is won, I can't shake the feeling that this is just the beginning. As the sun rises over the ashes, I vow to protect my son from whatever comes next. Jenna may be gone, but the darkness she unleashed is still out there, lurking in the shadows, and I'll be ready for it, whatever it may be. The media storm hits like a tidal wave, drowning Jenna and Tom in scandal. Every sordid detail of their affair, the embezzlement, and the conspiracy against me is splashed across headlines, broadcast on news channels, and dissected on talk shows. The public devours it, hungry for every piece of dirt they can find, and I make sure they get plenty. I start leaking the evidence strategically, a slow drip of information that keeps the story alive, keeps Jenna and Tom under constant scrutiny. The bank records, the emails, the photos, each piece is released at the perfect moment, just when they think things can't get any worse. The world watches as their carefully constructed lives fall apart. Jenna's once impeccable reputation is in tatters. Her so-called friends abandon her, distancing themselves from the toxic fallout. The charity she ran is shut down, its funds frozen as investigators comb through the finances. The media paints her as the villain, the mastermind behind a plot to frame her innocent husband. The sympathy she once garnered from the abuse allegations evaporates, replaced by scorn and condemnation. Tom's business empire crumbles under the weight of the investigation. His partners flee, his clients vanish, and his assets are seized. The authorities dig deeper into his dealings, uncovering more corruption, more crimes. He's no longer just a wealthy businessman. He's a criminal in the eyes of the public. I watch it all unfold from the safety of the safe house, feeling a dark satisfaction as they get what they deserve. But I know this isn't over. Not yet. The final blow hasn't been struck, and I need to make sure it lands perfectly. The arrest warrants come down like the hammer of justice. Jenna and Tom are taken into custody, their mugshots plastered across every screen in the country. Jenna looks defiant, but there's a glint of fear in her eyes. Tom, on the other hand, looks like a man who knows the game is over. Emily's involvement is also exposed. The investigation into the charity leads straight to her door, and she's pulled into the mess, kicking and screaming. She tries to play the victim, claiming she was manipulated, that she didn't know the full extent of what was happening. But the evidence says otherwise. She's as guilty as the rest of them, and she knows it. The press hounds me for a statement, for my side of the story. They want to hear from the man who was wronged, the man who was nearly destroyed by the people closest to him, but I stay silent. This isn't about revenge for me anymore. It's about survival. I've cleared my name, but I'm not done rebuilding my life. There's still too much at stake. The trial looms on the horizon, and I know it's going to be brutal. The prosecution has a mountain of evidence, thanks to the work Frank and Cass did. But Jenna's not going down without a fight. Her lawyer, a high-profile defense attorney known for getting the guilty off, is already spinning the narrative. They're going to try to paint me as the mastermind, claim that Jenna was coerced, that she's the real victim. It's a desperate move, but I can't underestimate them. They've been cornered, and that makes them dangerous. I spend hours preparing for the trial, going over every detail with my lawyer, Jeff. We rehearse my testimony until I can recite it in my sleep. Every question, every possible angle is covered. I can't afford any mistakes. Not now. The day of the trial arrives and the courthouse is swarming with reporters, cameras flashing as I step out of the car. I can feel the weight of their eyes on me, the pressure of the moment, but I push it aside, focusing on the task at hand. I'm here to tell the truth, to finally put an end to this nightmare. Inside the courtroom, the tension is palpable. Jenna sits at the defense table, her expression icy, her posture rigid. Tom is beside her, looking pale and nervous. Emily is nowhere to be seen. She cut a deal with the prosecution to save herself, but it won't be enough to keep her out of prison. The trial is a media spectacle, every moment dissected and analyzed by pundits and commentators. The prosecution lays out the case with precision, detailing the conspiracy, the affair, the financial crimes. The jury listens intently, their expressions growing more and more serious as the evidence piles up. Then it's my turn on the stand. I take a deep breath as I'm sworn in, my heart pounding in my chest. The courtroom is silent, the air thick with anticipation. I can feel Jenna's eyes on me, burning with hatred, but I don't look at her. I focus on the questions, on telling my story. I recount everything, finding the text messages, confronting Jenna, the arrest, the investigation. I describe the fear, the confusion, the betrayal. I talk about how I pieced together the truth, how I uncovered the conspiracy. My voice is steady, my gaze direct. I'm not just fighting for justice, I'm fighting for my life. The cross-examination is brutal. Jenna's lawyer tries to tear me apart, to paint me as a vindictive, controlling husband. He brings up the restraining order, the allegations of abuse. But I stand my ground, refuting every lie, every accusation. I'm not the man they're trying to make me out to be. I never was. As the trial drags on, the tension only increases. Jenna's defense team pulls out all the stops, calling in character witnesses, trying to sow doubt in the jury's minds. But the evidence is overwhelming, and the prosecution hammers it home with relentless precision. Finally, the day comes when the jury is sent to deliberate. The wait is agonizing. Hours stretch into days, each one more excruciating than the last. I try to keep myself busy, but it's impossible. My thoughts are consumed by the trial, by what's at stake. Then after what feels like an eternity, the verdict is in. I sit in the courtroom, my heart in my throat, as the jury files back in. The foreman stands holding the piece of paper that will decide everything. The room is so quiet I can hear my own breathing, loud and ragged in my ears. We, the jury, find the defendant, Jenna Taylor, guilty on all counts. There's a collective gasp, followed by a murmur that ripples through the courtroom. I feel a rush of relief so intense it nearly knocks me over. It's over. She's finally been brought to justice. Tom is found guilty as well, his fate sealed alongside Jenna's. The judge sentences them both to lengthy prison terms, the maximum allowed under the law. Emily's deal gets her a lighter sentence, but she'll still spend years behind bars. There's no escape for any of them. As I watch Jenna being led away in handcuffs, her face pale and drawn, I feel a strange mix of emotions. Relief, yes. Satisfaction, certainly. But also something else, something darker. This whole ordeal has changed me, hardened me in ways I never expected. I'm not the man I was before all this began. I'm stronger, but also more guarded, more wary of the darkness that lurks within people, even those we love. The media frenzy dies down in the weeks following the trial, the public moving on to the next big scandal. I start to rebuild my life, piece by piece, trying to find some semblance of normalcy. It's not easy. The scars are still there, both visible and invisible, reminders of what I've been through. I spend more time with my son, trying to make up for the chaos he's been dragged through. He's resilient, stronger than I gave him credit for, but I know he's been affected by everything. I try to be there for him, to provide the stability he needs. We're healing, slowly but surely. Amidst the rebuilding, I meet someone new. It's unexpected, but it feels right. She's kind, understanding, and patient, qualities I've come to value more than I ever did before. Our relationship develops slowly, naturally, without the pressure of my past weighing it down. For the first time in a long while, I feel a glimmer of hope for the future. But even as I move forward, there's a part of me that remains on guard. The scars left by Jenna and Tom are deep, and I know I'll never fully escape them. I've learned the hard way that trust is fragile, that people can hide their true selves behind masks. I'm more cautious now, more aware of the shadows that lurk beneath the surface. One evening, as I'm sitting on the porch of my new home, watching the sunset with my son, my phone buzzes. It's a text message from an unknown number. My heart skips a beat as I open it, the words sending a chill down my spine. You may have won the battle, but the war isn't over. I stare at the message, my mind racing. Who sent this? What does it mean? Is there another threat I haven't seen coming? The questions swirl in my mind, but one thing is clear. I can't let my guard down. Not now, not ever. I delete the message, trying to push the unease aside. I fought too hard to let fear control me again. But as I sit there watching my son play in the yard, I know that the shadows of my past may never fully fade. They're always there, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to strike. I've come too far to back down now. Whatever comes next, I'll be ready. I've faced the darkness before, and I've come out the other side. But I know better than to think that the fight is truly over. As the sun dips below the horizon, I pull my son close, feeling the warmth of his small body against mine. I'll protect him, no matter what the courtroom is packed, every seat filled with spectators eager to witness the final act of this twisted drama. The trial has become a media sensation, the kind that captivates the public and dominates headlines. I sit in the witness box, my hands gripping the edge as I prepare to testify. My pulse races, but my mind is clear. This is my chance to put everything out in the open, to expose Jenna and Tom for who they truly are. Jenna sits across from me, her once confident demeanor shattered. She's lost weight, her face pale and drawn, but her eyes still burn with defiance. Tom is beside her, looking more broken than I've ever seen him. They've been cornered, and they know it, but they're not going down without a fight. The prosecutor begins, leading me through the events that brought us here. I recount everything: Jenna's betrayal, the setup, the attack that nearly killed me. Each word is a nail in their coffin, each detail stripping away the lies they've spun. The jury listens intently, their expressions shifting from shock to disgust as I lay bare the truth. When the prosecutor finishes, Jenna's lawyer stands, ready to tear me apart. He's a shark, circling for the kill, but I'm not the same man I was when this all started. I'm ready for him. You claim my client orchestrated this entire conspiracy, Mr. Taylor. He begins, his tone dripping with skepticism. But isn't it true that you've had a history of controlling behavior in your marriage? I was never controlling, I reply, my voice steady. I was a husband who trusted his wife. I had no reason to believe she was capable of this. The lawyer smirks as if he's found a weak spot. And yet you hired a private investigator to follow her. Doesn't that suggest you were suspicious? Perhaps even paranoid? I wasn't paranoid, I say, locking eyes with him. I was desperate. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what. Hiring Frank was the only way to find out the truth. He shifts tactics, trying to poke holes in my story, but I stand firm. Every question he throws at me, I answer with calm, unwavering certainty. I've been through hell, and I'm not about to let him drag me back down. Finally, he brings up the night Jenna kidnapped our son, trying to paint me as a reckless father who endangered his child. I take a deep breath, the memory of that night still raw, and tell the jury exactly what happened. How I found the cabin, how I faced Jenna, how I risked everything to save my son. The courtroom is silent as I speak, every eye fixed on me. When I'm done, the lawyer has nothing left. He sits down, defeated, and the prosecutor moves in for the final blow. He presents the evidence, every document, every recording, every piece of the puzzle that Frank and I painstakingly put together. It's overwhelming, irrefutable. The jury sees it, the judge sees it, and even Jenna sees it. The truth is undeniable. The closing arguments are a blur. I listen as the prosecutor drives home the point that Jenna and Tom are guilty beyond any reasonable doubt, that they orchestrated this entire scheme out of greed and malice. Jenna's lawyer tries to spin a different narrative, painting her as a victim, but it falls flat. The jury isn't buying it. The judge gives the jury their instructions, and they file out to deliberate. The wait is excruciating, every minute stretching into an eternity. I sit in the hallway outside the courtroom, my heart pounding in my chest. This is it. This is where it all ends. After what feels like hours, the jury returns. I'm called back into the courtroom, my hands shaking as I take my seat. The foreman stands holding the verdict in his hands. I can barely breathe as he reads the words that will decide everything. We, the jury, find the defendant, Jenna Taylor, guilty on all counts. A wave of relief crashes over me, so intense that I have to grip the edge of the table to keep from collapsing. Jenna's face crumples, all the fight draining out of her. Tom slumps in his seat, knowing his fate is sealed as well. The judge moves swiftly, handing down the sentences. Jenna and Tom both receive the maximum, years behind bars with no chance of early release. Emily's lighter sentence, a result of her cooperation, does little to alleviate the weight of what she's lost. The courtroom buzzes with the murmur of voices, but all I can hear is the pounding of my own heart. As the bailiffs move in to take them away, Jenna turns to look at me one last time. There's no hatred in her eyes now, only a hollow emptiness. She opens her mouth as if to say something, but no words come out. Then she's gone, led away in handcuffs, a fitting end to the nightmare she created. It's over. The battle, the fear, the constant fight to prove my innocence, it's all over. But as I watch her disappear, I don't feel the satisfaction I expected. There's a hollowness inside me, a void that victory doesn't fill. I'm free, but at what cost? In the days that follow, I try to rebuild my life. The media frenzy dies down, and the public moves on to the next big story. I spend time with my son, focusing on giving him the stability he needs after everything he's been through. He's resilient, stronger than I ever imagined, but I can see the shadows that linger in his eyes. I'm determined to be there for him, to help him heal, even as I struggle with my own scars. The new relationship I've begun starts to grow, slowly and naturally. She's patient, understanding, never pushing too hard. We take things one day at a time, building something real, something untainted by the past. For the first time in a long while, I allow myself to hope. But even as I move forward, the darkness of what happened lingers. I've changed, become more guarded, more wary of the people around me. Trust doesn't come easily anymore. I see the world differently now, aware of the shadows that can hide behind even the brightest smiles. One evening, as I'm sitting on the porch watching the sunset, my phone buzzes with a message. It's from an unknown number. My heart skips a beat as I open it, the words sending a chill down my spine. You may have won, but this isn't over. I stare at the message, my mind racing. Who sent this? What does it mean? Is there another threat I haven't seen coming? The questions swirl in my mind, but one thing is clear. I can't let my guard down. Not now, not ever. I delete the message, trying to push the unease aside. I fought too hard to let fear control me again. But as I sit there, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I know that the shadows of my past may never fully fade. They're always there, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to strike. I've come too far to back down now. Whatever comes next, I'll be ready. I've faced the darkness before, and I've come out the other side. But I know better than to think that the fight is truly over. As the sun sets on the horizon, I pull my son close, feeling the warmth of his small body against mine. I'll protect him, no matter what. And I'll protect the life we're building, even if it means stepping back into the shadows to do it. As I walk out of the courthouse, the weight of the past months hangs over me like a storm cloud. The sun is shining, but it feels distant, as if its warmth can't quite reach me. I should feel relieved, maybe even triumphant, but all I feel is an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. The fight is over. Jenna and Tom are behind bars, but the scars they've left behind run deep. I pause at the top of the courthouse steps, looking out at the crowd of reporters gathered below. Their cameras flash, their microphones thrust forward as they shout questions, but I don't hear the words. It's just noise, a distant hum that I've learned to tune out. I've spent too long being the center of attention, my life picked apart by strangers. Now I just want to disappear, to find some peace for myself and my son. I spot him waiting for me, standing next to Frank, who's kept a watchful eye on him throughout the trial. My son's face lights up when he sees me, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I smile, a real, genuine smile. I walk towards him, every step feeling like it takes me further away from the darkness that's consumed my life. "Dad," he calls out, running towards me. I crouch down, arms open, and he crashes into me, wrapping his arms around my neck. I hold him tight, feeling his small body pressed against mine, and for a moment, the world fades away. This is what I fought for. This is what matters. "You did it," he says, his voice muffled against my shoulder. "We did it," I correct him, pulling back just enough to look into his eyes. "We got through it, and now we can start fresh." He nods, his eyes bright with hope, and I feel a surge of determination. I've lost so much, but I still have him, and that's enough to keep me going. Frank steps forward, a rare smile on his usually serious face. "Good job in there," he says, clapping me on the back. "Couldn't have done it without you," I reply, meaning every word. Frank has been my rock, the one constant in this storm. I owe him more than I can ever repay. "You just focus on rebuilding," he says, his tone turning serious. "I'll keep an eye on things, make sure there's no more trouble." I nod, grateful for his vigilance. The message I received after the trial still lingers in my mind, a reminder that the shadows might not be gone for good. But I push the thought aside, focusing on the present, on the steps I need to take to move forward. I take my son's hand, leading him away from the courthouse, away from the cameras and questions. We walk together, side by side, and with each step, the weight on my shoulders feels a little lighter. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'll face it head on, for him, for us. The days that follow are a blur of legal paperwork, interviews, and the gradual process of reclaiming my life. The house feels different now, quieter, almost peaceful. The echoes of the past still linger, but they're fading, replaced by the sounds of normalcy. My son's laughter, the hum of the television, the clink of dishes in the kitchen. It's not perfect, but it's a start. I find solace in the small things, the routines that anchor me. Making breakfast for my son, driving him to school, reading him stories before bed. Each day we build a little more of the life we lost, piece by piece. The new relationship I've been tentatively exploring starts to take root. She's patient, understanding, giving me the space I need while gently encouraging me to let her in. We spend quiet evenings together, talking, laughing, finding comfort in each other's company. It's different from what I had with Jenna, softer, more genuine. There's no rush, no pressure, just the simple joy of being together. But even as I rebuild, I can't shake the feeling that something is lurking just out of sight. The message I received after the trial still haunts me, a reminder that the shadows of my past might not be as far behind me as I'd like. I stay vigilant, always looking over my shoulder, always prepared for the other shoe to drop. One evening, as I'm sitting on the porch with a glass of wine, my phone buzzes. It's an unknown number, and my heart skips a beat as I stare at the screen. For a moment, I consider ignoring it, letting it go to voicemail. But I can't. Not after everything that's happened. I need to know. I answer the call, my voice steady despite the unease coiling in my stomach. "Hello?" There's a pause on the other end, a silence that stretches just a little too long. Then a voice I don't recognize speaks, a low, smooth tone that sends a chill down my spine. "Mike Taylor," the voice says, as if savoring the sound of my name. You thought it was over, didn't you? My grip tightens on the phone, my mind racing. Who is this? Let's just say I'm someone with an interest in unfinished business, the voice replies, a hint of amusement in their tone. You may have taken down Jenna and Tom, but you didn't dig deep enough. There's more to this story, Mike. And it's far from over. My heart pounds in my chest, fear and anger warring within me. What do you want? What I want is for you to stay on your toes, the voice says, the amusement fading into something darker. You've made some powerful enemies, and they're not as easily defeated as you think. This isn't over, Mike. Not by a long shot. The line goes dead, leaving me staring at the phone, my mind spinning. I want to believe it's just a bluff, a last-ditch effort to rattle me, but something tells me it's more than that. The shadows I thought I'd left behind are still out there, waiting for the right moment to strike. I sit there for a long time, the phone still clutched in my hand, the glass of wine forgotten beside me. I've fought so hard to rebuild my life, to protect my son, to move on. But now I realize that the battle I thought was over might just be beginning. I think of my son asleep in his bed, his face peaceful and untroubled. I think of the life we're trying to create, the future we're hoping to build. And I know that I can't let this threat, whatever it is, take that away from us. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the world settle on my shoulders once more. But this time, I'm not afraid. I've faced darkness before, and I've come out the other side. I'll do it again if I have to. I stand up, walking back into the house, into the warmth and light of the life I'm determined to protect. I don't know what's coming, but I know I'll be ready for it. I'll fight for my son, for our future, for everything we fought so hard to rebuild. As I close the door behind me, shutting out the night, I make a silent vow. Whatever comes next, whatever shadows might still be lurking, I won't let them win. I've been through hell, and I'm stronger for it. This is my life, my future, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect it. The storm may not be over, but I'm ready for whatever comes next, and this time I won't be caught off guard.